Williams has confirmed it will give Formula One tests to Robert Kubica and Paul di Resta in the near future as it evaluates both drivers for a 2018 race seat alongside Lance Stroll. Williams currently fields 18-year-old rookie Stroll alongside Felipe Massa, who had planned to retire at the end of last season before returning after Valtteri Bottas' sudden move up to Mercedes. Massa has stressed he wants to remain in F1 with Williams next year, but an underwhelming 2017 campaign that has seen him score just 1 point more than his inexperienced teammate has led the team to consider alternative options. A report from Motorsport magazine's Mark Hughes earlier this week claimed Williams would run Kubica and di Resta back-to-back in a 2014 Spec Williams in Hungary, with the pair leading the chase for Massa's seat in 2018. Kubica has been working for a full-time F1 comeback throughout the year, having last raced in 2010 before suffering severe injuries to his right arm and hand in a rally accident. Di Resta has worked with Williams in a reserve role for some time, and impressed after a late call-up in Hungary earlier this year when Felipe Massa fell ill after FP3. Williams technical chief Paddy Lowe confirmed the plans to test Kubica and di Resta together on Friday in Japan, but stressed the team had a long list of drivers under consideration for next year. "We will test those two drivers. We won't give away any information around what we do within those tests. That's a private matter for us, and I would stress that that doesn't mean that they're the only drivers under consideration," Lowe said. "We're considering quite a large range, of which they are only two possibilities." With few seats left on the F1 grid in 2018, Williams is seen to offer drivers one of the best remaining options, giving the team the chance to take its time before making a decision. "It seems like we're one of the last chairs available for next year. Of course Felipe is very much in the frame, very high on our list of possibilities, but we owe it to ourselves to take a look around and see what could be the best option for the team going forwards," Lowe said. "All options are under consideration, to be honest. You've probably seen a number of names that are floating around that we're looking at, but honestly the range is almost unlimited. We will consider all ideas. We're not in a super hurry to do so, and we'll just make sure we land the best lineup we can." Follow at Luke Smith. Lewis Hamilton will start Sunday's Japanese Grand Prix from pole position after dominating proceedings through qualifying at Suzuka, setting a new lap record in the process. F1 Drivers' Championship leader Hamilton arrived at Suzuka eager to extend his 34-point advantage over Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel, and took a big step towards doing so by scoring his 71st career pole position. Hamilton turned in a fastest lap of 127.319 in Q3 to beat Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas, meaning he has now scored pole position at all 20 circuits on the current F1 calendar, having previously missed out at Suzuka. Hamilton offered a sign of things to come in Q3 by breaking the previous Suzuka track record held by Michael Schumacher in the second stage of qualifying, going almost a second faster than the previous benchmark. Hamilton was able to find yet more time in Q3, putting him over 1.5 seconds clear of Schumacher's best time from 2006. Vettel was left to settle for third for Ferrari, but will gain a place by virtue of Bottas' 5-place grid penalty, leaving the Finn 7th on the grid. Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen qualified 4th and 5th for Red Bull, around a second off Hamilton's pace, while Ferrari's Kimi Räikkönen ended up P6. Raikkonen will also drop 5 places due to a gearbox grid penalty. Force India finished as the leading midfield team in qualifying at Suzuka, taking 7th and 8th in the final order with Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. Both drivers will rise 2 places on the grid by virtue of Raikkonen and Bottas grid penalties, as will Felipe Massa, who qualified 9th for Williams. Fernando Alonso qualified 10th for McLaren, but will start at the back due to a 35-place grid penalty for changes made to his Honda power unit. Despite knowing he'd drop to the final row regardless of where he qualified, McLaren ran qualifying as usual for Alonso, inadvertently knocking teammate Stoffel Vandoorne out in Q2 after the Belgian finished 11th, just 0.029 seconds off a Q3 berth. Nico Hülkenberg finished 12th for Renault, 2 places ahead of teammate Jolyon Palmer, while Kevin Magnussen led Haas-Charge in 13th place. Carlos Sainz Jr. propped up the classification in Q2, taking 15th on the grid for Toro Rosso. A heavy shunt for Romain Grosjean in Q1 brought the first stage of qualifying to an early end, with the Frenchman careering off the circuit through the S's in the first sector and causing a significant amount of damage to the front end of his Haas car. Grosjean thankfully walked away unharmed, but was knocked out of qualifying in P16 after the session did not restart due to there being just 1 minute left on the clock. Pierre Gasly dropped out in 17th place for Toro Rosso ahead of Williams' Lance Stroll, whose sole flying lap was allegedly hindered by a block from Perez that will be investigated by the stewards after the session. Sauber drivers Marcus Ericsson and Pascal Wehrlein rounded out the order, but will gain positions on the grid due to the litany of penalties that have already been awarded. The Japanese Grand Prix is live on NBCSN and the NBC Sports app from midnight ET. Follow @LukeSmith1.